Point and Click Productions presents episode 3 of Coronavirus, a Psychologist's Diary. As my family rattles the door of my studio, which also doubles as a bedroom sometimes. We have a busy agenda today. First of all, I need to introduce you to someone who has not a single concern about coronavirus. None whatsoever. Her name is Dora. Dora. Let's see. Dora? Hey, Dora. So, Dora, what do you think of the current crisis? Are you concerned? Are you worried? No? Oh, you're purring. Okay, so you sound quite contented. Would you like to add anything? Purr? Oh, yeah? Meow meow? Anyhow, she really isn't bothered by it, and let me tell you why. For those of you who've, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm making you ill. I'm making everybody sick. Okay, I promise this will stop. This will end. Okay, there we go. Stable. So for those of you who've been following here for a while, this is explained. I explain this in detail in my early videos. Both the basic one, acceptance and commitment therapy explained, and then mindfulness and acceptance and commitment therapy. And then especially for those of you who are a little more psychology, behavior analysis inclined, want the technical part, watch the 5-video series on relational frame theory. The last episode is actually similar to what I just did, an interview with a nonverbal creature. So some of you have responded to my recent posts by requesting that I explain how to use acceptance and commitment therapy techniques or acceptance and commitment processes technically. It's not technically therapy unless you're in a therapeutic relationship with a therapist, but acceptance and commitment processes through self-help that to cope with this whole coronavirus situation, which brings up so many things. In my last video, I said that things are going to change. And I said, I'll discuss in the next video how they're going to change. Well, I think it's a little bit more important that I offer something first, because I could go on and on video after video speculating about things. But at least one, if not more, of the limited viewership I have has requested that I give something doable. So other than, and I promised I wouldn't do this, so let me try not to. Other than referring you back to earlier videos and, well, figure it out yourself, don't worry, I'm not going to leave you high and dry like that. Why don't we today, I'm not sure where this will lead. Maybe I'll have to split this into 2 different series. I don't know. But today, why don't we focus on self-care? Now, you are hearing all sorts of things. You're being bombarded with information about coronavirus, including self-care. So let me cut straight to the chase and offer you the stuff that no one else is going to offer you. And in a way, I'm even honoring my statement last week of what's going to change, but in a more roundabout kind of way than I had envisioned originally. So to cut straight to the chase, both how to help yourself and what may change, at least in the United States and similar countries, is a greater emphasis on matters of ultimate concern. Matters of ultimate concern. Now, what are matters of ultimate concern? So, for highly religious people, that's not a difficult question at all. For the rest of us, it can be a very difficult question to answer. But I have a way to get right at your matters of ultimate concern. And it goes like this, and I imagine that it's in one of my other videos from 2013 or who knows when, but it's something that I ask my clients a lot. Last year, my mother wrote her memoirs at age 87. When you are 87 or 90 or whenever, and hopefully in reasonably good health, and you write your memoir, let's just imagine that. Whether it's going to happen or not is not important. If you're 82, okay, you're in good health. When you're 103, and you're still in good health, I hope, and you write your memoir, what do you want in it? In other words, what do you want to say? Not so much that you have achieved, but what do you want to say that your life has been about? What do you serve? As Bob Dylan once said, you got to serve somebody. So you got to serve something. You're serving something. Some people serve mostly a very kind of frightening, I hesitate to say the word God, a very frightening imperative. I picture it coming from a giant strand of DNA, our inborn imperative to survive and not get killed, not age, not get disease, and not die, and also to reproduce while we're at it, while we're being alive to reproduce. Now, suppose for a moment what I have observed to be true could be true, which is the following. If you ask 100 people or more, and I have, what do you want in your autobiography when you are very old? The top 3 bullet points will emphatically not include that I never got sick, that I never grew old, and that I achieved immortality, or somehow protected the rest of my friends and family from old age, sickness, and death. And here I'm just ripping off the Buddha, actual Buddhism, as opposed to Sears Buddhism or internet Buddhism, which is just whatever people feel like calling that. So I'm not preaching Buddhism here. You can be any religion you want, or none at all, or violently opposed to all religions. I'm simply repeating a formula, if you will, an observation that turns out to be empirically obvious. You will become ill. You will, I hope, grow old if you stick around long enough, and you will die. These are a given, and same with everyone you know. So in the meantime, oh, there's Dora giving us a little show up in the window on my left shoulder. My left shoulder. In the meantime, what do you want your life to be about? What do you want to write in your autobiography when you are very old? Well, almost everyone says the same thing. If they're religious, they might mention serving God. Otherwise, and I'll always ask for more, some people say, I want to say I was happy. And I don't accept that because that's shorthand for specific things. So I'll say, okay, what would be the things that would show you that you had been happy? Not just a state of mind that arises mysteriously. So usually people talk about friends and family, including cats, no matter how meowy and whiny they might be, friends and family, loved ones. They talk about principles like serving humanity or serving God or serving what have you, serving freedom, serving mom and apple pie serving the international communist Jewish conspiracy, whatever it is. Take your pick. Serving something of principle. And third, they talk about, what was the third one? Friends and family, higher principle. Oh, third is generally their life's work, what fascinates them, or just what interests them. It doesn't have to be your life's work. You don't have to be like I am an amateur gemologist. I don't think I'll ever do that professionally, but I have a hobby. So the third is essentially relegated to the term hobbies, which I find a little trivializing, but nevertheless, strong interests, passions might be a better word. Now, I don't think that these distract us from the inevitabilities of old age, sickness, and death. I'm going to lay it on you, those of you who have stuck with this video all 10 and 11 minutes now. Yeah, 11. Those are not, we are distracted from our lives by the threats of old age, sickness, and death, or lack of reproduction, or the inability to defend other people from old age, sickness, and death. These are the distractions. They don't distract us. Excuse me. Our life does not distract us from the important things, which are old age, sickness, and death. No, it's the other way around, in my view. Old age, sickness, and death, and those big imperatives: survive, reproduce. I picture a giant strand of DNA sitting on a throne, commanding us. I don't want my life to be about following the dictates of 3.7 billion years of evolution that formed my strand of DNA. Or if you don't believe in evolution, which a small percentage of my viewers might not, fine, no problem. In Hebrew, it's called Yetzer HaTov and Yetzer HaRa, the good inclination, the bad inclination. The base versus the elevated. And the base, the common, the crude is stay alive and reproduce. We can all agree on that, regardless of whether we think it happened because of this or because of that. So this is a different way to look at things. We can work on not letting our genome, or whatever it is, maybe some might say original sin, those don't need to distract us. The word sin, just to go off on a little bit of a tangent here for those who are religious, in Hebrew is chet. It's fun to say if you can pronounce it. Chet means when you fire an arrow, you miss the target. Perfect. So psychologically, wasting your time, in secular terms, wasting your time or even harming others or yourself, versus, or just being meshuggah, just being a little crazy and wasting your time that way, neurotic, versus living your life. And your life is defined on what you, according to me, defined as what you want to write, what you choose to write. It's not a compulsion, it's a choice. What you would like to write in your autobiography when you are very old. If you want an assignment, you've got one from me right now. And that is, write down the top 3 or 4 things that you want to be able to write in your autobiography when you are very old. I know I've repeated that a lot, but since I don't use visuals, I rely on repetition to emphasize things. If you want, put it in the comments. I haven't had a lot of comments on these, but people are watching and clicking like, and thank you for that. And it's nice to be heard, and it's nice to be liked. In any case, I better sign off here, and we'll check in again in a couple of days, and maybe I'll have more for you to do, or maybe I'll just spout off. Who knows?